Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of our podcast, the
You
JK.
need to restart. You sound like a robot.
All right, you ready?
You sound like an AI that's trying its best.
Hello. All right, ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Hello, and welcome to our podcast, the JK Cast. This is episode number 2. It is currently midnight. You have anything to greet the guests with, or the viewers with? I'll take that as a no. All right. So how have you been recently? Let's
Me?
start. Yeah. You. You're the only other person in this room.
I've been pretty good. We've been really busy with creating videos, editing thumbnails, and the like. So
It has been pretty. We've been pretty busy with the channel. You know, we're uploading 2 videos 5 times a week.
right. I think it's just such a creative outlet that.
Yeah, like I'm not complaining. Like I'm having a great time. It just objectively, it does take up a lot of our time.
Right. Like my parents are trying to take us out for our first wedding anniversary, and we're like, we have a lot of videos to make.
Yeah, we kind of canceled our anniversary. We're like, we're kind of busy with this channel.
Yeah. We're probably going to have like dinner or something, but
Yeah.
I mean, also COVID. It's not like we can really do anything crazy.
Yeah, right. Your parents are going to listen to us and be like, oh, wow, we're treating them to a brunch and they're just complaining.
Well, they're still trying to figure out how to use YouTube, so.
Yeah, maybe they won't listen to this actually.
Yeah, just probably not this week. They've got a lot of videos backlogged that they haven't seen yet.
True. If they're not watching one video a day, what are they doing?
I don't know.
All right. So, anything you want to start off with?
Well, we were talking a lot about earlier today. Something that came in the news.
Oh, yes.
This morning? Or was it
No,
yesterday?
this was maybe a couple days ago now at this point.
Maybe a couple of days ago?
Yeah.
Well,
So, okay.
you start off with it.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk for a little bit for a while on this topic, and then you and I will get into the broader spectrum of things. But what's been in the news recently is that 3 people, I think they were based out of Australia, if you're not familiar with the Zodiac Killer, you can go ahead and look all that up. But the Zodiac Killer was active during the late 60s, early 70s, I want to say, Southern California. Murdered 5 people, confirmed, up to like 28 not confirmed, and then he claimed to kill 37 people.
Okay.
But that's beside the fact. The thing is, he made national headlines because of he would taunt the press. He would send them ciphers, send notes to the police. And he sent the first one. It was cracked within like 20 hours. He was pretty surprised by that. Again, being who he was he thought he was the smartest person in the room. And so when that got cracked in 20 hours, he was like, oh, I got to make this harder. Anyway, so he ended up sending, I think, a total of 4 ciphers. One of them was finally cracked. I think it was the last one to be cracked. But it was the 340 cipher. It was a cipher that consisted of 340 characters. And I'm not going to read out what the cipher was, but basically, people, it was unsolved, and people were like, oh, well, if we solve this, maybe it will get us one step closer to catching the Zodiac Killer. It did not. All that it did was there was an event that happened, which was a lawyer and a talk show host hosted this TV event, and someone called in claiming to be the Zodiac Killer and was seeking help and talking about that they were scared of the being put to death.
And so pretty much he responded.
Oh yeah,
with
he
a
responded,
cipher saying,
and it was
I'm not
just
scared.
Yeah, it was just cracked, and he said that wasn't me on the TV show. I'm not scared. I actually welcome death because it's paradise. Whatever, crazy stuff from a crazy person.
And stuff. Yeah.
But that's in the news right now because it was just cracked.
So isn't there like one more cipher left?
It's like
that people expect to be his name.
Right. He sent a cipher 6 months after the 340 cipher. It consisted of 13 letters, 13 characters, I should say. And the note he writes the notes in English, and then he puts a cipher in there. So he wrote whatever, my name is dash, and then 13 characters. So people are like, oh, this is going to be his name, and he's revealing himself. I don't think that at all.
What do you think?
Hold on, I'll get to that in a second. But I wanted to say something about the ciphers because he was active in the 1960s and late 1960s, early 1970s, and we just cracked the ciphers, and we use ciphers using these computer programs, and that's how they cracked it, was these computer programs. And I saw a lot of people are like, wow, that's crazy. He must have been like wildly intelligent because like he made these ciphers that only like computers could crack now in 2020. Mm-hmm. And I want to put that up. That's not true at all because when you're creating a cipher, you have every single advantage. You can make the cipher whatever you want, and the more times you translate it, the more manipulations you do it, the harder it is to solve. Because there are, you have every tool in your toolbox when you're making a cipher, but when you're solving a cipher, you only have the characters in the cipher,
right?
And you have to rely on patterns you can identify in the cipher.
Which is why computer programs make it so much easier.
And one of the other things was this cipher actually had some mistakes in it. There was
like
4
some typos, or
there was 4 characters that he might have done it on purpose to make it harder to solve, or he might have just messed up,
like translated incorrectly or something.
Yeah, 4 characters were moved over one column. Is one thing, and then there's some other stuff like it was like. It was supposed to be like read diagonally and like also backwards and some other stuff, but some of the characters weren't backwards. So, just an error in translation. It might have been, he might have done it on purpose to farther confuse people. But that's another reason why it took so long to crack. People did think that if they cracked this cipher, maybe it will help them with the 13 character cipher, which is supposedly his name. Now, I don't think it's his name for 2 reasons.
Okay.
One, in an earlier cipher, he wrote, "I will never reveal my name." And 2, I don't think it's his name because he said he was never going to reveal his name, but also he is above intelligence, or was above average in intelligence. He's most likely dead, to be honest.
Right, it's been.
He'd be.
Oh my goodness.
He'd be well over 80.
60 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He hasn't been killing in a while. He's an attention seeker, a thrill seeker. He wanted attention, and like this long without attention is crazy. He's either incarcerated or dead.
And all of the like movies and shit about him, like he definitely would have come forward.
Yeah, there's no way he would have come out of like the woodwork or something. Anyway, I don't think it's his name because earlier in the translation, he said, I would never reveal, but he is above average intelligence. So, like, why would he reveal his name? Mm-hmm. If he got so much thrill from being like, oh, you can't catch me, it would be way too easy for someone to catch him if they had his actual name. Going back to the 13 character cipher,
mm-hmm.
I've read up a lot, and not just recently, but I always thought it was cool, like, not that it killed people, but like the cipher is like.
Yeah, I always thought it was really cool how the Zodiac killer.
Yeah, so cool how those people died. No, I just like people are fascinated with serial killers because one, death is so taboo in our culture, but also it's like it's crazy to see someone break rules.
Mm-hmm.
Like like sporting events, see someone streaking. Like you saw a naked person like walking down the street. Like one day you'd be like, "Oh, what are you doing?"
Defying society.
You'd be like, "Ew!" But like you see him like at a baseball game running across the field, you're like, "That I like that person." But anyway, the 13 character cipher. It says my name is dash 13 characters, and people are like, "Oh, it's got to be his name. He's got to be revealing himself."
That's too easy.
It's too easy. And one of the popular, it's very close to another cipher that he wrote in earlier where he signed his name, Zodiac. And from what I've seen, that's probably a pretty good answer, is that it just says my name is Zodiac. But then another one that I like.
That's only 6 characters, though.
Yeah, but like a lot of like characters are like 3 characters mean 1 letter and whatever.
Oh,
not
okay.
It's not as easy as 1 character subbed for a different letter.
Okay.
Yeah. Because that'd be way too easy to crack. Because then you could just do 26 different possibilities for each character. But then also you could look at it and be like, some of the characters in the 13-letter cipher and the other ciphers are actual letters.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not just like random characters. Because I think the first three characters of the 13-letter cipher is AEN. And my favorite translation of the 13-letter, it's Alfred E. Newman or something like that.
Really?
Mm-hmm. And it's not the name of a person. It's the name of the mascot for Mad Magazine, who is like a goofy-looking kid. And I think, I based on like what he's written in other letters and stuff, I think that's a really good possibility that it was just like, you crack it and go, oh. And then you look up the
mascot?
You look up the name and you're like, oh. And then you just spend a ton of resources on this to come up with a joke, the punchline of a joke.
I mean, they could like commit to it, like
go after
Sergeant
him.
Jeffords in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh yeah, the cat.
Yeah, or he's like, the cat must have done it.
That's why I call him cat burglars.
Cat burglar.
No, yeah. But then what sucks about the 13-letter cipher, 13 character, I keep calling it letter, 13 character cipher is that it will never be solved because there's only two ways it will be solved. One, they find the zodiac and ask him what it means, or they find him in his name and then they translate that back.
Correlate too. Yeah.
Because how you solve ciphers is you have to find patterns. And 13 characters is just too... There's too many right answers is the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, we've been... That's been in the news. And then we were...
From that, we were just talking about, like, really the different types of serial killers. We were trying to get into the definition of it. And so we ended up figuring out that the definition of a serial killer... definition of a serial killer is a person who has killed at least 3 people, all over at least a month, and that there's significant time between each kill. So if there's not significant time between each kill, then they're called spree killers. Mm-hmm. But what really got it for us is it's only 3 people.
Oh yeah, it's only 3 people. Well, I think. Well, I mean okay.
Makes sense. And 3 people's a lot of people to kill, considering the vast majority of people have killed 0.
Yeah, it's well above average. Yeah, but one, it's 3, but also, we were looking up and it was saying that like, give at any time in the United States, there are 3 active serial killers.
Yeah,
which is crazy to me.
And, I really think, though, that how do they know that for sure? Like, their statistics, I think, are flawed because I feel that there's a lot of murders that happen that we don't even know about because they're so much smarter than the average serial killer that ends up getting caught. Because I feel like the majority of the serial killers that make really headlines are thrill seekers, attention seekers, and they send taunts to the press, send taunts to police, and that's really how that they get
That's how they end up getting caught.
Because they have that compulsion that they have to keep doing it. They're organized to an extent, but really when it comes to it, like, the kill comes before anything. It's like with Ted Bundy, like, he just couldn't stop. So even when it was
way too dangerous to be killing. Way too dangerous,
he wasn't organized enough to say, no, I should, like, back off.
Yeah, no.
Go into hiding. I feel like they're the other types of killers that we probably don't even know about, which I would say are skewing statistics because there are probably way more of them, are the power control type. Remember that we were reading about?
Yeah.
I think there's probably way more of those than anyone even knows about.
Right. What's crazy to me is that with all of them, it's... At least when I think of serial killers, it's someone that has to... not has to kill, but makes the decision to kill.
Right.
Because at least goes into the situation knowing they're going to kill. Because how I think about it is like you kill 3 people over a month and they're significant time. They're separate instances. What are the odds that you get into 3 different things where you just get angry enough to kill? Like you didn't go
Right, like,
into the
that's not
situation.
what's
That's not what's
happening.
happening. Yeah.
Like you're going into the situation like knowing you want to do that.
Right.
Because I feel like what most like kills of passion or whatever is you're in a situation, something's happening, you think it's gonna ruin your life, something comes over you, you can't control your anger, whatever. I don't know. I've never killed someone.
Yeah.
I don't know what would make you, because a lot of people are like, oh, it was an accident. Like I didn't know how hard I was pushing you or whatever, and you like fall backwards onto a table. Like
That
I feel
seems
like
like
that's how
so
the
much more.
majority of-
I've seen so many TV shows and movies where that's happened, where these people get into all together and the person falls and hits their head on like the corner of a table.
Mm-hmm.
But I just feel like you would put your hands out to break your fall.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was falling, I feel like I would have at least enough time to put my hand on the table. I don't know. But it seems like, again, if that ever happens to you, don't make the mistake of trying to hide the body and covering up.
Right. If there's ever an accidental death, we watch so many. Is that on Criminal Minds or something?
Right. Yeah.
We watch so many episodes of Criminal Minds, which we're obsessed with that show, by the way. But there's some like completely accidental death. Like they're having a verbal argument and the other guy walks backwards into an airplane propeller. And they're like, oh no, gotta hide the body.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
Yeah,
don't hide the body.
don't do
You're so
that.
dumb.
Yeah.
You hide the body, then it becomes a crime. Accidental deaths happen, you know?
Mm-hmm. Right. But going back to like the thrill seekers, I can't remember the name, but I just want to share this real quick. But he was a serial killer and he was sending taunts to the police and they couldn't catch him. And he got so comfortable with like talking to the police that he sent him, he's like, hey, like if I put like a message on a floppy disk and send it to you, will you be able to see like the stuff that I've deleted off the floppy disk? And the police were like, no, but they could. And so he sent them a floppy disk that had one letter, but stuff had been erased. They were able to pull what had been erased, and it was like some document that had his legal name on it. And they found him and arrested him.
That is so dumb. Why not just buy a new floppy disk?
Right, like what?
How expensive were they?
You're going
at that
out
point
of
in
your way to
time?
kill people and stuff.
Yeah,
but like you're like
save up a little extra money to buy a new floppy disk.
Mm-hmm. What always really gets me?
And how would he even expect the police to be honest?
Yeah, he just got so comfortable because he was like, I'm so much smarter. Like that's how they get so in their head about it.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, but what always surprises me is that like we were reading about the Zodiac, he had 5 confirmed kills that were attributed to him.
Mm-hmm.
Like 28 possibly could be to him.
Right.
And then like he claimed 37. But like 5 confirmed.
Always claim more.
They always claim more. But
like they want to like build themselves up as some kind of
yeah. But then there have been like serial killers in the United States that have like 30 have been attributed to them or whatever. But it's always like some of these famous serial killers like only have like a little bit attributed to them. Like, and I'm like, wow, like I would have think that they were like terrorizing the
right.
You know, Southern California in the Zodiac case. And you think like, oh, like 37 people have been killed over like 5 years that he was active or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Like that'd be crazy. I'd be like, I'm leaving Southern California.
Right.
But it's like 5.
It's like
then it's like
I'm sure he really didn't kill as many as he's claiming. I think it really just happens in places like Southern California and Pacific Northwest, like back in those times before there was
DNA and stuff?
DNA and like information sharing across jurisdictions and across state lines. I think there were a lot more active killers because it was just easier. Yeah,
okay, that brings up a good point. You know, Ted Bundy just like last year had his like the 30th anniversary of all stuff and like some movies and documentaries came out and whatnot.
Right.
And for all of do you think there would be another like big serial killer?
Like Ted Bundy?
Like Ted Bundy, Jeffrey Dahmer, like someone that kills like a good like 20-something people.
I think there's definitely room for it in our society, and I think there's definitely enough like people who fall through the cracks of society that something like that could happen. You know, I mean, there's definitely a huge uptick in human trafficking in the last year.
Oh, so like, okay,
I
that
think
makes
it's
sense.
just in. I think as long as they stick to low profile victims,
Yeah, if they took low risk targets,
there's still room for it in our society.
yeah, I still think. I mean, like, yeah, with like DNA and stuff. Like, I mean, like
but
you see like criminal all these detective shows, and you're like, oh, I could plan the perfect. But I'm thinking it's so hard. Like, just the amount of cameras, the amount of people that could see, the amount of everything.
You just have to. I mean, I think just focus on, you know, not that this is advice or anything, but I think there still are active killers like that. But I don't think you could be, you know, like sending stuff to the police and taking high risk targets. I think you have to be, because I mean, they are doing it currently. They're taking low risk targets, they're abducting them, and they just are never seen again. And I think a lot of them are probably getting killed. I know we were watching that Criminal Minds episode. I guess they had like an ongoing thing where they were trying to fight a human trafficking ring that was selling off people to serial killers. Because a big thing in...
Was it to serial killers, or was it like... Or like they could go to these places, like buy a person, and then like somebody else would kill them. So they could see someone die, but like they wouldn't...
That was one, but wasn't there also one where they were selling people to killers? Because remember, the one guy would buy the people and chop them up, and then he would sell the body parts to people who were like obsessed with dead people's body parts. There's all kinds of people.
Yeah.
Out
there's
really,
all sorts of things.
Like, the issue I'm having with it is just that if you can't geographically like tie someone to where the person disappeared from, and they're John Doe or Jane Doe, even if you have like DNA on the person, if the person who killed them has never filed DNA, you know, it's
right.
It still doesn't help. I think the changes that there's been made with information sharing across jurisdictions and across state lines has made people like Ted Bundy, like Jeffrey Dahmer, not able to operate anymore. Mm-hmm. Because really, Ted Bundy would never have even made it. Gosh, where did he move after the Pacific Northwest? Was it Utah?
Sure, I don't know.
I think it was Utah. He never would have made it down there if they just shared information.
Yeah, like sharing of information was like a huge thing. Or something. Yeah, they like killed in like a different city, and they're like, no idea.
He was up in Seattle, and they started really clocking in on he's driving a VW Bug. He looks like this. They had a picture they were circulating, and he just went like an hour south.
Oh yeah.
And started killing people there.
No, yeah, and that's like the thing about like all that, especially like, you know, what's interesting about like Jeffrey Dahmer and Ted Bundy's like, and the Zodiac. I mean, the Zodiac hasn't been caught, but like there's so many people in custody. But Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer, it's like the police were so close,
close.
Like the police actually found I think it was a 14-year-old boy in Jeffrey Dahmer's case, ran away from him. The police found him. And Jeffrey Dahmer talked the police into giving him back.
Insane.
Yeah, that's crazy. Like, they were just, like, so charismatic and personable. Like, you know, Ted Bundy could get pulled over in his VW Bug after the police had his description and talk his way out.
Be in a VW Bug.
Yeah, and talk his way out of it.
Yeah.
And, like, that's crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah. I just don't know if that... I don't know if... Yeah, those types of serial killers... But I think you make a good point about... serial killers taking low profile victims, being able to operate. But then we were also talking about like the profession, the lifestyle that could really do it is truck drive, like long haul truck drivers.
Man. Truckers.
Right.
okay, we've been talking about this for a while, for like months, I feel like, every time we talk about serial killers. But what I'm thinking is, they have the highway serial killer database. So like any bodies that are found dead along a highway, the local police department has to report into the HSK database, or highway serial killer database, so that, because back in these times when when a lot more serial killers were active and successful, I would say, there were a lot of serial killers operating along highway or interstates, and they would never make the connection because there was no jurisdictional information sharing. So all of these really, really, really small police departments, they would have one murder and they would never be able to solve it, but it was just one.
Right, no big deal.
No big deal. Like, why would they ever think that that was a serial killer? So now that that was because there's so many small towns along interstates. The killer would just do one here, move along to the next one, and nobody would ever make that connection. So now they have this database so that they can like track if there's any of the same MO, the same
that's what they're really
taking, same signatures. They are able to tie it together and see if that's a serial killer that's active. But we were talking about this earlier. What if they just don't use the same MO?
Yeah, if they don't use the same MO, or, don't
right, like how do you know how many serial killers are
don't
really active?
don't dump the body like along the
along the highway.
Yeah.
What if it's like in town somewhere?
Yeah, because like, I mean, you drive through like towns, if you just like pull off and go a couple miles into town, or go a couple miles off the interstate to dump a body or whatever.
Go into the woods. I mean, there's always woods in these areas.
Mm-hmm.
The woods are so close.
Right. Yeah, no, I think that would be...
Yeah, it's like how... people must be getting around that. Now that it's more of a widespread thing.
Right. Like, yeah. That just seems like the perfect... Because, I mean, you're just like... You're so removed from society.
As a trucker.
Yeah, as a trucker, because you're just like you're driving all the time. Yeah. Sometimes you got your little cab, and so sometimes, I mean, you're not like 100% living in there, but like maybe you're on the road 80% of the time in your life. You're living there for quite a while,
right?
And then like you could like
must be lonely,
right? So like, also like when you're like, what's your alibi? The police are like, what's your alibi? It's like, well, I was driving from here to here.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, maybe now they'd be like,
I think now they
find security cameras or something, but like,
I think now they also have trackers on their trucks too.
Right, but if you buy your own truck, you just take that off.
Right. Because it only works for ones that are driving for companies or something.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't think it's hard to start your own trucking company. I mean, other than buying a truck.
Yeah, trucks are expensive.
Oh, yeah. But I feel like if you're using like a business loan to do it. All right, so yeah, being a trucker would be like, I feel like that lifestyle would make it so much easier. Not
saying that like everybody that's a trucker is
100% not saying that.
Serial killer. We're just saying being a trucker would be one of the easiest lifestyles to get away with it.
Right. Especially if like you were just like always driving.
Right. Like I've seen, at least, I don't know if you've seen them, but they make these cabs that have like a little trailer pretty much built into it.
Oh, it's like a straight up, like it's got like a sink and a shower, and it's basically an RV.
It's an RV, but on the front, on the cab.
Yeah.
So they just live out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's a great option for people who don't have families and want to make a lot more money.
Right.
Because you don't have to pay bills. You can drive 100% of the time.
Yeah, but then that truck's a little more like, someone would be like, because they look a lot different. You'd be like, if you saw it, you'd be like, well, that's that. And then if someone put out a description of that vehicle, they'd be like, oh, I totally saw that vehicle.
Yeah.
So that might make it a little bit more difficult. But if you're in the middle of nowhere,
mm-hmm.
and like you're just driving, you see someone abandoned on the side of the road, and you're like, I'll give you a ride.
Right.
and then like knock them out, drive a couple 100 miles,
Right.
and then dump their. Oh,
Right.
they're not solving that.
Right. If you dump it in another super small town that doesn't have resources to investigate, and it's a one-off, they're not going to call in any other authorities because it's only one. And like the geographic distancing, like there's no connection to anybody.
Yeah.
They're not gonna ever figure it out.
Yeah, unless like you're already like if you're already in like the DNA system and they have like DNA, like they find DNA and then they're like, let's run it, and then you come up in a database like, all right, this person's wanted for murder. That would be a lot easier. But I mean, if you're not in the database or whatever,
right?
Or if you're in a like different country, I don't know, forged documents or something,
right?
Way
you know what
easier.
has become like a huge aspect in some of these unsolved cases is stuff like ancestry.com where they're taking, so obviously the murderers never want it done, but I don't know if you heard about it, but the Golden State Killer or something like that operated a long time ago and has been dormant for years, his granddaughter did ancestry.com. And I don't know who it was, but it was like a detective or one of the FBI agents. They were going over the cold cases and they're like, what if we can get like authorization from these companies like 23andMe, Ancestry to cooperate in murder investigations. So pretty much what they did was they just ran for anybody who had like a certain percentage of matching with him or with the DNA that they had on file.
Oh, so okay.
So like they had evidence, they had DNA evidence, but the killer had never been a felon or gotten his DNA taken. So they didn't have anything to match it to. So pretty much they were going through cold cases and they were like, what if we can find a legal way to get 23andMe, Ancestry, all of the major DNA companies to try and match like at least like an 85% DNA match with the sample we have, and see if from doing that we can select down to who of their family members it probably is.
Right.
And so his granddaughter had done the 23andMe or whatever testing, and he was actually the detective on the original case.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was insane. It was like over.
Was he still alive?
Years. Yes, he's still alive.
Oh, geez.
He was tried, I think, last year.
Oh.
So
I think I remember hearing something about this like at the very beginning when it first happened, but I haven't heard about
it was like
since.
20 years or so after he had gone dormant, and he came to the trial pretending to be like mentally handicapped because of old age, like that he had dementia or something. He was trying to pretend to have dementia. He was walking with a walker, pretty much just trying to make the jury make the jury think that he was unfit to go to jail. Like, he's already old.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, like, a lot of times they won't send people if they're just old. They're just like, whatever. But, I mean, there was video of him being arrested, and he obviously wasn't in that condition.
Oh, yeah, you gotta start off from the get-go.
Right, so, I mean, it didn't work, but I just thought that was funny that he's obviously a very manipulative person.
Oh, yeah.
To have gotten away with it all those years and still be trying. I mean, he's in his, like, 70s, 80s. Like, at that point, just give in. Like, it was obviously you.
Yeah, I bet he was one of those people that was, like, doing his detective job, and he's, like, solving murders, and so he's like, you know, all these murders are doing it wrong. I could totally get away with murder. And then one of his cop was like, no, you couldn't. What are you talking about? We'd catch you so easy. He's like, okay. And then he killed some people.
He killed a lot of people.
He killed a lot of people? How many? Like,
I don't
look
know.
that up. I want to know.
It's like Golden State Killer, I think.
Yeah, Golden State Killer sounds right. Wow, that's crazy. No, but like, yeah, like going back, like I think it's always crazy, like, you know, like these prolific serial killers, and you're like, but then they end up like not having too many victims. I mean, like, you know, not as many as like.
His name's Joseph James D'Angelo. He committed 13 murders. That's all that's been confirmed. Apparently, there's a lot more. But like I was trying to say earlier, is that when these murders get like so popular in the news and they've named them, there's like a craze at the time. And everybody, anything bad that happens, they're like, it must be that killer that you've named that I hear on the news every night.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so,
like there's so many things
they'll
like
have a lot attributed. That
you can only really
aren't
attribute things like really stuff that they confess to.
Right. So he committed at least 13 murders. Those are all that have been confirmed. 50 rapes and 120 burglaries. So I remember this one. He started with home invasions, which is how a lot of really organized serial killers start. They start with home invasions. They move on to, you know, rapes.
Sexual assault,
rapes. And then they get into murder at the end. It's kind of an escalation.
I feel like, yeah. I feel like you have to escalate to killing a person. Like, if you're not, like, psychotic.
Right.
Because, like, I mean, like, I've never killed someone. But I'm just saying, it's probably got to take a lot of...
like, preparation, I guess.
Right. Like, yeah.
So,
I mean, not like preparation, but a lot of... Like, takes a lot of...
75 years old.
Currently?
Yeah, and he was sentenced last year, I think. Yeah, he was arrested April 24th, 2018.
Wow. That's crazy. Why didn't you just, like, move?
He?
Yeah.
He did. He moved around Southern California.
No. I meant, like, you got to...
move far away, yeah.
You have to... If you're in Southern California, you're moving to Maine. Like, that's what you have to do.
True.
I mean, it sucked to live in Maine as an old person. So cold.
So cold.
Yeah. But
yeah, he, because he just kept moving around to different counties, I guess, in California, because every time one area would coin a name for him, he would move somewhere else. And he ended up becoming the head detective on the case for his own case.
wait, was he already a detective when he started?
So
Home
yeah,
invasions?
he was a police officer when he started.
How long was he active?
He was active between 1973 and 1986. Pretty long time.
Wow.
13 years.
Oh, you killed one a year.
Well, I think he started killing in the later years.
Oh, was that active from like home invasion?
From home invasion through.
So he was already like, he was sentenced when he was 73, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he got caught after 20 years. So he was like in his 50s when he started home invasions?
Well, no. So 73, that was 40 years ago. Or 35 years ago.
Okay, so he was like late 40s. Oh, no.
Late 30s.
Late 30s.
Yes.
That's okay. I guess that's a little more on.
So he started, with the home invasions.
Mhm.
So he was known in that area as the Visalia Ransacker.
Terrible name.
Moved
That's why he moved. He was like,
to Sacramento. He's like, what is this bullshit?
He's like, you gotta give me a cooler name.
I do
That's
my
why he escalated.
shit.
He was like, these home invasions aren't giving me cool names.
I burgled 120 houses, and you're calling me the
120?
Visalia Ransacker? Are you serious?
What did he do? Did he just like mess shit up?
He
just
burgled.
I mean, was he stealing
Stole shit.
things?
Yeah, he burgled, honey. In Sacramento, after he moved, he became known as the East Area Rapist. That's when he started raping. And
Then he moved again and murdered?
so then he started committing murders in Santa Barbara, Ventura, and Orange County, where he was known as the Night Stalker. And later,
Still a terrible name.
after Richard Ramirez's spree killings, his nickname changed to the original Night Stalker. Interesting. Oh, it also says here that he threatened and taunted both victims and police using obscene phone calls. That is hilarious. He was taunting himself.
Yeah, right?
That is so funny.
Like, hey, we got this transcript from the voicemail he left or whatever. And he's reading it and I was like, he's such an asshole. Yeah.
What a dick.
Yeah, but I mean, like 13, like, you know, that's a lot more than like some people are attributed.
Right, like I feel like Jack the Ripper has such a larger reputation.
Like Jack the Ripper was active in London in the late 1800s.
Right.
You know, when you think of him, you're like, oh my God, he must have been terrorizing. 5 confirmed victims. 5.
Right. Same as the Zodiac Killer, but like, still known through the ages.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, like, at least I guess, you know, when Jack the Ripper was doing stuff, you know, that was novel.
I mean, can you imagine investigative work back in that day?
Yeah, like...
You just, like, see someone killed, you ask around, you're like, did anyone witness it?
Yeah, like, no? John Mulaney has a good joke about it. Where it's really? Like, yeah, he's like, you know, back when, before DNA, he's like, as long as you weren't there when the cops showed up, you had a 98% chance of getting away with it. Like, the detectives were like, hey, we found a pool of the killer's blood in the other room. And the head detective was like,
clean that shit
he's like,
up.
Gross. Clean it up. Now back to my hunch. Yeah. It's like, that's so true. It's like before DNA and stuff, like before DNA, before fingerprinting, no way. As long as you're not there, you're good. But yeah, like, one thing that's, everybody's like, oh, Jack the Ripper, and like, you know, he was never caught. But actually, a popular theory, because he was active in the late 1800s, I don't know if I'm going to get all these facts right, but supposedly he moved to America.
Really?
In the late 1800s to early 1900s, and then continued being a serial killer. And I think he went by the name, or his actual name was H.H. Holmes.
Really?
He was America's first serial killer, I want to say. I don't know if I got all that right. But supposedly that's a popular theory, is that Jack the Ripper was actually H.H. Holmes. I don't know if this timeline matches up.
I don't know. I feel like there's always a lot of theories, and there's some clear issue with them.
Right. Like, it might be like some crazy stuff.
Okay, so H.H. Holmes was America's first serial killer. He was sentenced to 27 murders. Wow. It says he was born in 1861, died in 1896.
So it actually kind of lines up.
Kind of lines up?
Look up Jack the Ripper.
Will do. And did H.H. Holmes move to America at the same time?
Well, I don't know if H.H. Holmes...
So Jack the Ripper was unidentified serial killer active in London in 1888. So let's see.
Oh, that actually kind of lines up.
Let's see when he moved to America. No, Holmes arrived in Chicago in 1886.
I don't know. I mean, it's 2 years off. But like...
That's a lot of years.
But that's pretty damn close. Like, considering, like, you know, they don't know who Jack the Ripper was. How do they know when he stopped?
I guess that's true, but they're saying, like, the murders that are attributed to Jack the Ripper ended in 1888.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so funny. So I was looking up when H.H. Holmes moved to the U.S., right?
Mm-hmm.
And the second most related question to that search is Meghan Markle related to H.H. Holmes? And she is.
Whoa.
Right?
I was about to start off with, like, how is that? Who's asking these questions?
She is the 8th cousin to H.H. Holmes' great-great-grandson.
No. Bullshit. You got to stop calling it related at some point. Because you can just be like, oh, everybody's technically related. It's so stupid. 8th cousin? I didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't either. Well, that's hilarious.
When does it stop? Do the numbers just keep going?
I I think so. Yeah.
They've got it, right? That's so stupid. Yeah. But actually, what's really interesting is, all these are like American serial killers. I mean, Jack the Ripper was London, supposedly also American, or came to America. But foreign serial killers are like crazy.
Really? Like
Yeah.
what?
I think one of them was in the one that I'm thinking of was in the Ukraine/Russia area.
Yeah.
He was just a guy, but he what's interesting is that he killed children.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and so he was famous for like moving
I
around,
feel like that always hits people a different way.
killing children.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like
It's
so like
really? Children, come on.
yeah, because like with supposedly people say like with adults you could be like, oh, maybe they want the greatest of people, so they kind of maybe 0.00001% deserved it or some shit, but children are innocent. I'm like, well, first of all, children can be assholes.
Right.
We've all met children that suck, but also like no one deserves to get murdered.
Right.
I mean,
No, you should stick with what you said.
Yeah.
First.
yeah, that's my final answer. But yeah, he was active in Ukraine/Russia, and he was like a accountant or something, and / teacher. I don't know, but he would like hang out at train stations, and like this was a while ago,
Okay.
like early 1900s maybe, like when like I feel like now parents really keep an eye on their children,
Mm-hmm.
but like used to not. Like I hear stories of my parents where it's like, I'm just gonna go explore the woods and I'll be back in like 4 hours. Like I could never done that when I was a kid.
All right, sweetie, be home for dinner. Wash your hands.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so like these kids hanging out the train, and he would like lure them away from the train station and then kill them. And he supposedly killed over 50 children.
That's insane.
Right? That's crazy. Yeah, but yeah, like the only reason why I pointed out, I'm not saying like, oh, like foreign serial killers are really crazy, but I'm just like, I just want to point out that serial killers are everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are people with compulsions and issues everywhere.
Right.
It's just, I think, a lot more, like phenomena. What's that word? Like it's so much more of a cultural phenomenon in the U.S. I think.
I think
it's so much more.
I think in the U.S. just because like we with a lot of things we have a media that will like give a serial killer a name,
right?
Really put it in the news, make them famous, really.
Really, they make them famous just to get more views, but it really encourages it.
Because I don't know if this is true, but I would bet like in other countries they know who Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer are. But I
mean, I would think so, especially with all the Netflix like specials and
exactly
movies and.
But like I don't see stuff from other countries. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think that those. Like,
but America's the media empire of the world.
Yeah, I think that's the truth for like a lot of different things. Like, I mean, other countries obviously have like film and music industries that we know nothing about, but our film and music is like shoved down all other countries' throats. You know, and,
right?
Like, their artists have to come to the U.S.
Oh yeah, like when an artist
become popular.
Yeah, when an artist gets like famous in a different country.
Yeah, they have to come to the U.S.
Yeah, and then
because the U.S. like controls it.
Yeah, I mean it's just where everything is. Like it's a place of fame.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Hollywood is in America. But no, what you like, it's like people have these compulsions and whatever. But like, what's really, I was reading this other story about, God, I wish I could remember all these serial killers' names and whatever that I'm talking about. I don't know. I don't think he was like a big serial killer or like famous or whatever, but he killed some people. But he left a note. I want to say he killed himself or he was executed. One of them. But his like final words / final note that he left, he was saying like, I want to leave my body to science. I want to be like, I want to have an autopsy done. I want to see, I want to know,
way?
what made me do this? Is there a reason?
Yeah.
and they did an autopsy, and he actually had a brain tumor
Oh wow.
that was sitting. It was putting pressure on whatever portion of the brain, and it just supposedly could make you super aggressive.
Okay.
And then there was this other story about this husband who all of a sudden, loving husband, all of a sudden like went off, started like beating his wife, beating his kids, and whatever, and then started getting just like crazy headaches. And he finally went to the doctor, and they did like a CAT scan, and like, oh, you have a tumor. And then they went in and took out. It was a benign tumor. They took out the tumor, and then he went back to the loving husband that he always had been.
That is insane.
Yeah, I'm like, I wonder how many
people are suffering
are like that actually like are like
different
criminals
people,
or
yeah.
whatever, that really it's just some medical condition that's undiagnosed or whatever.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
I would divorce you so fast. Like,
Yeah.
How did they like not?
I don't know. I feel like I mean they were an older couple, but I feel like when you like someone as like the most amazing person,
And
the
you're
most
like,
loving,
what
whatever,
is happening?
and then all of a sudden one day they snap. I mean, I feel like you got to be like, I have to help them. Like you've put so much, you love them so much, you put it so much into the relationship. Like you have to help them. You want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Insane. Second podcast, really, really heavy topics.
We got really deep into it so fast.
Yeah, it's now 1 a.m. We started this at like midnight.
Yeah.
Got real heavy. Not
Real
deep. Got heavy.
deep.
Got heavy. Heavy.
Hopefully.
Took the Chevy to the levee, but the levee was dry.
Chevy to the levee is dry.
That's all I know.
Them good old boys drinking whiskey and rye.
There you go. I don't even know who sings that song.
Singing "This Will Be the Day That I Die," or you die. I don't know. It's
that,
called "The Day the Music Died."
Is that I want to say I'm thinking Billy Bob Thornton. John
No.
Mellencamp. No?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I just know the words.
Great help.
Yeah, I don't know how good that does us.
Nothing at all.
Well, my parents will know. They'll comment.
Yeah. Do they
if
have
this
accounts?
is included.
Yeah, I think it would be included. I think we have to at least we couldn't just end the podcast after our last topic.
Yeah.
We gotta have something a little bit lighter.
To end on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much. Segue.
Terrible. No, pretty much we've been recapping our intro. We've been working hard on the channel. It's been a lot of work, but it's also been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
We just dropped our first beauty video.
Right.
You should go check that out. I'm the most awkward person in the world.
We'll have another one coming out yesterday. You're listening to this on Wednesday, maybe. Came out yesterday on Tuesday.
We're gonna do a kind of a new thing with it. I haven't
new
really
take
seen
on
this
things.
done. A lot of you probably maybe don't watch beauty videos a lot, but a very popular type of video to make is called a Get Ready With Me. And Justin and I are actually going to do it together. So I'm going to be doing...
I will not be getting ready.
So yeah, Justin will not be getting glammed up. That's his choice.
I'm a male. It takes me 5 minutes to get ready. And if I don't want to do my hair, I wear a hat.
Okay. So Justin is a straight white male. I'm going to correct his comment.
Thanks for clarifying.
But he will not be getting glammed up. That's his choice, and we support him. But I'll be getting ready, and we're going to play a game.
Yeah, we'll play some games.
Play some games and just, hang out. So I think it's a kind of a new concept. Haven't really seen it done before, and we're really hoping it works out.
I think it will work out. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it will too.
Yeah, because kind of with the games, the audience can kind of play along.
Yeah, and that's kind of like, I think what we want our channel to be, like about us and about...
Just like hanging out, having a good time.
Having fun, playing games.
Playing games. having heavy conversations.
Heavy.
Yeah.
I can't get my voice that deep. Heavy. Heavy.
Of course you can't. You're a female.
I'm trying.
Like,
heavy.
Good stuff.
It's just gonna be me saying heavy.
Yes, like the next 20 minutes, you just trying to get the heavy.
Heavy.
Why are you like leaning? You're like
Heavy.
tucking your chin into your chest.
I feel like I need to lower my center of gravity to be able to speak low.
Lower your I was about to say, I was like, oh, all you have to do is like move your Adam's apple down, and I was like, oh wait.
So that's what I'm trying to do. Move my non-existent Adam's apple.
Right.
Down here.
Yeah.
Heavy. I feel like that's pretty low.
Yeah.
I feel like that's pretty low.
For you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever.
All right. That's going to be it for this podcast.
Thank you for listening. That's my Justin voice.
That's okay. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone. You have anything to add before we sign off?
We really appreciate everyone listening. The robot and I over here.
I'm the robot?
Yeah. You remember at the beginning when you kept going?
All right,
Hello.
whatever. That didn't even make it on the
welcome.
podcast because you made me redo the intro. All right. Anyway, we appreciate you guys watching. Hope you enjoyed. All right. See you later. Love you.
Bye.
Bye.